Hey everyone, this is Biohazard Queen here. I am here to give my opinion on Nightmare on Elm Street 2. Since you know I'm doing my opinion on all the Nightmare on Elm Streets and the Jason movies. Anyway, and if you watched my previous video, you know why. I'll watch all the Jasons, then all the Freddys, following up with Freddy versus Jason to give my opinion as an adult, and also, well, I never saw the Freddy movies before, so, you know, this was a whole new ball game for me, so technically I really had no idea what I was getting into. Okay, so anyway, okay, so I'm going to start off now by talking about what I thought about, you know, the opening scene where Jesse's dreaming about, you know, going to school, and when, you know, obviously, one of the cool things to start off with was, you know, our homeboy Robert Englund is the bus driver. And, hey, that's pretty cool, you know. And I watched some videos, and in some videos, some fans are saying they never noticed that before, that was Robert Englund. Well, I totally had, like, these awesome theories. I was like, well, ain't it something? I noticed that right off the bat. That was Robert Englund without the makeup on. I mean, I just kept staring because I thought that was so cool when I was watching that. So anyway, I had these theories. I was like, since Freddy Krueger's a demon, you know, what if, like, you know, since obviously Logic 101, before Freddy got burned up, you know, that was his look. That's what he looked like. He looked like Robert Englund. So, I mean, obviously, so, like, I thought to myself, you know, like, how cool that was, and what if, like, did the creators do it on purpose, or, you know, by having Robert Englund play the bus driver, you know, just as a fun thing to do, or if they did it because, you know, Robert Englund's character Freddy was, like, you know, just messing with Jesse's head, you know, because that's what demons do. They play tricks on people. And, so, I thought that was cool. And, you know, the fact, like I said, demons can change form. Obviously, you watch Evil Dead and stuff like that. You see what demons can do. Okay, so, anyway, I just thought that was, like, really cool. I mean, me personally, if I saw somebody pull up, gonna pick me up and take me to school back then in my day when I was young, and they look like they were Robert Englund, that'd be cool. But I mean, hey, if it's Freddy Krueger, nah, I'm not getting on that. Like, I'd be like, I'll just stay home. I'll take my butt whooping for staying home from school than that, you know. I'd rather take my butt whooping. But anyway, than take on Freddy Krueger any day. But yeah, I never skipped school, so I knew better. If I wanted to live to see the next day, I never skipped school or played hooky or anything, so yeah. But that would be the one time in my life I would take my chances. But yeah, so Jesse's dreaming about this mess with Freddy, you know, because obviously since Jesse has moved in to the house that Nancy lived in, you know, him and his folks got it, he's like, the spirits are already so strong. The spirit is so strong of Freddy Krueger. It's already just taking a toll on this dude's brain, like, completely. I mean, Freddy's already doing his work. He's already mentally frying this dude's brain. No pun intended, because I know Jesse woke up, like, burning up sweating, and no pun because Freddy's burned, but, hey, still. Okay. So, another thing I want to talk about is how, like, actor Clu Gulager is in this movie, which him and the whole Gulager family are, like, really awesome. They're in a bunch of movies. Clu's late wife, Miriam, was in Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3, Mr. T and Tina, and, oh my gosh, so many more. I don't have enough time to name them all. But anyway, they make great movies. You know, you really need to check out anything made or they starred in or played cameos in anything with the Gallagher's, from Diane, John, Tom, Miriam, Clue, the whole 9 yards. Just check them out. They're really awesome people. Anyway, I want to talk about also, speaking of Clue, him playing Jesse's dad. I think Jesse's dad, the character, is a really cool guy. Like, he's a cool parent, and so is the mom, because to me, it feels like in some way they're more supportive to Jesse, or trying to be supportive, because of all this stuff he's going through. His character is going through, like, so many different emotions and feelings. I mean, this kid is, dealing with his sexuality, because this movie is a LGBTQIA plus movie. But, because it's the 80s, it's supposed to be low-key. Well, I remember hearing about it being that type of movie, but I did not remember until after I watched it. Because, like I said, I was new to the Freddy sequels. So, when I watched it, of course, my naive brain did not put 2 and 2 together what was going on in the movie. So, obviously, that's just me being me, didn't pick up on it for some reason, even though you could clearly see it from space. But I love the fact that this is a LGBTQIA plus movie, because a lot of those movies are great, whether they're horror or drama. But if you do like horror movies that are part of the LGBTQIA plus movement, I do recommend checking out Chambers. Well, no, Chambers did not have that, so I'm sorry, not Chambers. I recommend checking out the TV show American Horror Story. They have a lot of that in it. Check out that movie called They, Them. That is really awesome movie. Like, it's good. It's sad, but it's good. It's sad what those teens go through. But it's really a good movie, all in all. There's so many to choose from out there. But anyway, back to this. What I like about the mom and the dad is them being, like, totally... Well, the dad is kind of being a little bit harsh towards Jesse. He's accusing him of drugs and stuff because of his behavior, and accusing him of ridiculous things like putting fireworks or something in the birds when oh yeah, by the way, spoilers alert to this about the bird exploding scene. I mean I get it. The dad is getting aggravated with his son because his son don't want to listen, but I guess, the son's a teenager, so what do you expect? But, he's growing tiresome of Jesse's behavior. But, when it comes to parents, you got one parent that is a little bit more softer and understanding, and then you got a parent that's kind of stern. The one that always puts their foot down, the boss of the house. So, it could either be the mom or the dad or the, whichever one, or the mom or dad figure, whichever. I don't know what the correct term would be, the terminology, but anyway, when it comes to parentals, and guardians, you got one or the other. Nobody's the same. But anyway, the reason I say the dad is sweet and understanding, I'm not trying to be biased or anything because of it being Clue Gallagher. The dad character, I think he's a sweetheart because deep down, despite him being harsh on his son, he's like, when Jesse has a bad dream, his mom and dad comes rushing in there in one scene, and his dad places his hand on Jesse's leg when he sits at the foot of the bed, like he's like trying to be understanding. He's trying to see things from Jesse's view, but Jesse's going through so many emotions and feelings. It's like he don't know how to just say what's going on because he don't know where to begin. I mean, that's a lot to take in. You're dealing with problems at school. You're trying to, figure out what to do about you know, your sexuality. And then now you got this, you know, demon harassing you and stuff, and people you know are getting cooked. And so it's like, you know, you don't know what to think. You know, you're losing touch with reality. So you don't know where to begin. You don't know how your parents are going to take it. You know, they might look at you like, when you start talking about demons and stuff, they're going to think like you're crazy. And then, you know, with it being the 80s and, you know, you coming out about your sexuality, that might be kind of difficult to take in all at once, you know, because of, you know, it was the 80s. It wasn't like today. But, and so, you know, that kid's going through a lot. But it seems like, based off of the way the dad was in that scene, it feels like that maybe he should have had talked to his dad and his mom about the whole mess with Freddy first, you know, and then maybe eventually, once that gets out of the way, maybe, you know, they can build a trust bond and then he could come out about his sexuality. I don't know. I mean, I'm a straight person, so I don't know what it would be like to have to go through all that, you know, that experience of dealing with pressure and what your folks are going to think. I don't know. But anyway, I feel like that, like I said, I feel like the parents in this movie were a lot more nicer and could have been more understanding. I also want to talk about how, this girl that is interested in Jesse, like, she is so, man, she's trying really hard. I get it. When you have a crush on somebody, you want them to just, you want them to love you, you know? But, I don't know, I think she's a great girlfriend, because, I mean, this whole time Jesse's going through this mess with Freddy, she is 100% supportive. She is trying to do so much research about dreams and Freddy and, you know, all this stuff about sleeping techniques and stuff in the spiritual world. She's trying everything she can to help this guy she loves. That, you know, hey, I mean, I get it. She ain't your type, dude. But I will say this. Unlike most couples, you know, or, well, most significant others or most people that have a crush on you or married to you, hey, look, whoever she ends up with, she's a keeper, because, I mean, that chick is supportive, you know, 100%. She's not questioning nothing, but I guess that's what happens when you're got puppy love syndrome. You know, you'll believe anything. But, one thing that kind of bothers me was, but, you know, that's part of life, you know, is how Jesse is crushing over Grady. And I'm sorry, but Grady's kind of a bully a little bit of a bully. Or, I don't know why, I don't know, maybe it's the puppy love thing. But, I mean, if I was Jesse, I'd be trying to fall in love with somebody who's not kind of a jerk. I did not like the coach in this one. The coach was such a total jerk. Like, okay, I think everybody in the world in the horror franchise, you know, I think we all had those characters. We cannot wait to see them get cooked. I mean, seriously, you're sitting there, I don't care if it happens early on or later on in the movie, you're like, dude, I wish this person would go ahead and get cooked in this movie, because they are just, But, you know, and to me, the coach you'll see if you watch Nightmare on Elm Street 2, the coach is literally a jerk. And plus, I'm sorry, I know I cannot have kids because of physical reasons, but anyway, the kid, I mean, this dude, I think the coach is a pervert, or as I like to call it, prevert, because, like, I mean, the stuff, him making these kids do push-ups, and, if I'm not mistaken, I think Grady said, something about the coach gets his rocks off. Yeah, I'm sorry, if I was a parent, I would definitely be at that school quick. Like, that should have been another thing Jesse should have confronted his folks about. Like, hey, this coach makes me uncomfortable. Like, for real. The coach, you find out later on in the movie, the coach is going to, a club for people of the LGBTQIA+, so the coach, I guess he's secretly, like, gay, but, I don't know. But I don't know if everybody knows it, but apparently Grady knows. But I'm not sure about everybody else at the school if they know. I'm sure they know. But, when the coach sees Jesse coming to the bar, and he takes Jesse back to the school and starts punishing him by making him run laps and all that stuff, it's like, hold up on that car wash. You're dressed like that, and you're making my kid run laps at the school and stuff like that, and then making him go take a shower? Boy, he would have to be removed from that school because, I would think that coach would have, some rather unsettling taste. Like, I think he's into underage kids or something, because he ain't just, it wouldn't have been such a big deal. It wouldn't have been a big deal at all if he was gay, but he's like, I'm thinking, what is his fascination with making these underage kids do push-ups and stuff? Like, that's a little weird. That would make me uncomfortable if I was a parent. I'd go, I don't care if you're gay or who or what you identify as, but you're not gonna do that to my kids, man. I'm sorry. Like, I don't know what your fascination is with my son, but like, my son is not even 18, and you, like, if you need to go check out guys your own age and not be worried about underage guys. But anyway, so Freddy Krueger gets the coach, and that is the best part of the whole movie. Like, he literally, like, just friggin' gives the coach a taste of his own medicine. That is so cool. I cannot even begin to start on this. Hey, at least the kids at the school, they don't have to worry about being sexually harassed by the coach anymore after that. At least that's what I call it. So anyway, I wanted to talk about, like, how Freddy Krueger, the cool thing about Freddy Krueger in this. Okay, this was a whole new ball game. Like, Freddy Krueger has become so strong. He is now possessing the boy Jesse to do his bidding. So I thought that was, like, really interesting. That was a new twist on Freddy at the time being, because he was feeding off of, everything Jesse has become weak and vulnerable due to stress. And so he's an easy target for Freddy. And I just could not get over that. And I really like the part where, when Freddy confronts Jesse, right? And then Freddy starts ripping his own scalp off, and you can see his brain. I was like, yo. Like, that was pretty wild for Freddy, you know what I mean? I don't really recall much about Freddy getting really, really graphic like that. And I want to talk about actor Mark Patton when he plays Jesse. Okay? It's very rare in horror movies I ever seen male actors, and I'm not trying to be sexist. It's very rare I've ever seen male actors put on a believable act. But dude, Mark Patton, his screams, his reaction, everything, to me, he makes it so believable. His acting is so spot on, perfect, believable. I actually felt like that would be my reaction to a lot of stuff he was going through. Like, all these scares, like the shower scene when the coach finally got what was coming to him, and Jesse looks and he's got Freddy's glove on and he screams like he does. Oh my God, that dude was, that dude made it believable. You know, I mean, he won't trying to be like no type of guy that's like, I ain't scared of nothing. Okay, this dude was like, I mean, he was believable. His acting was 100% believable in that. Okay, so, another thing I want to talk about, which was another favorite scene of mine, I really loved the scene where, the pool scene. What was kind of funny to me was how, Lisa's dad, he's getting on the kids for jumping off the diving board. It's like, I agree with what somebody said in a Freddy Krueger video one time. They said, why would you install a diving board if you didn't want anybody to jump on it? Yeah, that I would think the same thing. The only thing I would have changed different, well, if it was me, if I could be a parent, I mean, I would have definitely not left the teenagers by the pool and went upstairs, you know, with my spouse. I would have had stay down there because you know how, well, not all teenagers are like this because I sure won't. But I mean, I would have definitely not left them teenagers unattended because you know they would have been drinking and doing things they shouldn't been doing. And so, I would have been like, nope. Hey, I mean, you don't want your daughter to be known as the loser where the parents babied them. But at the same time, you could have still stayed around without, you know, making it like you're babying her. You know, that way she can keep her popularity up and people won't think, oh, you know, she's a baby. But, you know, so there's ways around that. I would have just kind of used an excuse to stick around, like, you know. But, so, another thing about the pool scene was when Jesse starts to, you know, be overpowered by Freddy, and you know, all them kids are looking in the window at this stuff going down. I mean, I'm sorry, but if I look through a window and I see Freddy Krueger, you know, attacking some girl, I'd be like, nope, I'm going to be trying to get out of there quick. I'm going to dip. I'm going to bail. I mean, I ain't sticking around. So if I saw something like that, I'm gone. And a thing is, I kind of want to address, like, I was always wondering, like, when Freddy Krueger would take over Jesse, like, which I guess I'm kind of answering my own question here when I say this. Was everybody seeing Jesse physically, or were they seeing Freddy Krueger when, you know, when Freddy would take over Jesse's body? Reason I say that is just because, you know, why didn't they run when they were looking through the window and saw, you know, Freddy harassing Lisa and stuff at the pool party? And plus, like, when Jesse goes to Grady's house, you know, instead of engaging in relations with Lisa, you know, and Freddy takes over his body and he ends up taking out Grady, you know. And if you notice when Jesse looks in the mirror and he sees Freddy waving back at him, you know, I'm thinking to myself, is everybody seeing Freddy when they look at Jesse, or are they seeing Jesse? I want to know, you know, like, when Freddy's taking over, what are they physically seeing? I mean, I know what we're seeing as an audience watching the movie, but I'm wondering, like, in the story, what are we supposed to be seeing? Like, what is everybody supposed to be seeing originally? Because that'd be a pretty cool thing I would like to know. And, like, at the pool party, when one of the teenagers approached, well, I don't know if you want to call him Freddy or Jesse. Well, anyway, when he gets approached, you know, by one of the teenagers at the pool party, and they're like trying to calm him down and reason with him, and he's like not having that, you know. I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, dude, I don't know what you're seeing. I don't know if you're seeing Freddy or if you're seeing Jesse, but either way, I'm not going to approach somebody and try to calm them down and they doing all what he's doing, like, I would have been like, definitely if it was Freddy Krueger I was seeing, I would have just been like, nope, that's not a very smart idea because it ain't gonna work. I mean, the whole pool party attack was awesome to me. It's one of my favorite scenes in the whole Nightmare on Elm Street franchise. I mean, of course, I'm going to go over my favorite scenes, but this is one of my favorite scenes. I do also like the Grady kill because of the fact that, you know, well, Grady was kind of a bully in my opinion, but whatever, it is what it is, you know. I mean, yeah, there were times when he was nice, but then there were times when he was just kind of a jerk. But, I mean, that whole scene was something else, man. When Jesse went and snuck in Grady's house, in his bedroom, and was, like, trying to get him to help him, you know, and yeah, Grady, you know, tried to reason with him, and, you know, Jesse gets taken over, and, I mean, he just takes Grady out. I'm sorry, I know Grady couldn't get out of that room, but if that was me, I would have friggin' made, like, another hole in the room. I would have been trying to break my neck just to get away. I mean, oh, man, that was something else. That's the thing I love about 80s graphics, you know, is it was so cool. I mean, even though there were times when stuff, like, in the 80s was cheesy, but this was a little bit different. This was something else on a whole new level. And another thing that I thought was, to me, interesting was the fact that, I watched a video and they said that the director was more in a hurry to finish this movie, that he was not really paying attention to all the LGBTQIA plus signs there. I don't know. I think that if that is true, I think that, you know, maybe despite it being a rushed film, if that's the way he wants to look at it, if that is true, I wouldn't be ashamed of it, to be honest. I mean, I don't see nothing wrong with it. I don't care if it is or it isn't LGBTQIA+, because, I mean, it was a great movie, and it did not look rushed to me. The movie did not feel like he was just trying to get it done and over with. It actually looked like he put in time and effort with this. I think it was awesome. And, I mean, if you watch the movie, you judge for yourself. There are plenty of horror movies that actually feel rushed, especially at the last 20 minutes, I guess, of it. But I did not really feel like Nightmare on Elm Street 2 was a rushed movie, you know. And it's just a good movie. I really just like it. And when it comes to sequels, I definitely like this sequel a lot. And you know, a lot of people, I don't know how a lot of fans feel, if they feel like they wish Wes Craven had directed it. But, I think it was good like it was. I don't think it needed no other director. I mean, it was just a perfect sequel, one of the perfect sequels, in my opinion. And I don't see nothing wrong with it. I wonder how many other fans like it. I know I've never really heard many good things about the Freddy sequels, but I found this one, I've actually found all of the sequels really good, but I think this one was definitely one of those sequels that was just perfect in all of its way. I know I'm going to sound biased after a while, you know, because of the fact that it's very hard for me to find a horror movie I dislike. And, you know, I love Freddy now. He's just, like, really cool killer and stuff. And, you know, like I said, I don't want to sound biased. I'm just expressing what I think and what I feel about it, you know. And one other scene that I really thought was pretty cool and funny, was that, like, when Freddy bit Lisa on the leg. Oh, man. I'm sorry, but, I would have had to kick Freddy in the head for real. Like, I've been kicking for my life because of the fact that that was something different. I never really recall Freddy, even like I said, after I watched all these, this was my first time watching them all, I never recall Freddy biting anybody, but that was cool, man. I could see that actually happening, to be honest. I also love the fact that, you know, Lisa was able to get inside Freddy's head. So, but there was, speaking of that, actually, somebody posted something on Facebook a while back, that the fact that that Freddy Krueger's weakness is women. I don't know. Maybe I'm looking back at a lot of this and I'm thinking, I think about it. Now that I've seen all of Freddy movies, I don't know. I think maybe his weakness is women. Like maybe females just can get in his head quicker, you know, like they're stronger than men, you know, and I mean, is anybody, I don't know if anybody else really feels that way, you know, I mean, Freddy loves some women now, evidently. He sure did not mind kissing that chick in well, kissing is an understatement, but that's, I mean, he took her out. I mean, talk about the kiss of death. Sorry, that's Dream Master, I know, but I just wanted to point that out. Freddy Krueger seems to like women a lot of times, but it's because of all his flirty jokes sometimes before he takes people out. I think that maybe Freddy does like women, and that's why they're his weakness. I think that, at least that's what I think. But there was something else I wanted to point out that when I was watching a video last night too about Nightmare on Elm Street 2, where, you know, they were talking about their opinions. They were saying that the movie had a moral to it, you know, a message to it. Like, since Jesse lived, you know, in the movie, the way it ended, with Jesse and Lisa together, the person I was watching on YouTube, they said that they looked at it as, what if that was Jesse's way of finding out what would have happened if he had come out with his sexuality? Like, what would have been the results? You know, and so it sadly ended with him, you know, settling for Lisa. No, I don't. I personally don't see it that way. I don't see it as Freddy was teaching him a lesson, because I don't think Freddy don't seem like he cares what your sexuality is. Like, I don't think that's the moral of it. I think the moral of it was he feeded off of Jesse because Jesse was so emotionally weak. You know, he was going through so much mess and he was stressed out. And therefore that made him like a vulnerable target. You know, I don't think there's no moral to that story. I think just, you know, he was an easy target. Freddy Krueger was just getting stronger and feeding off of him. That's just all it was. I think Freddy Krueger is one of them killers who just does not care what you are, what you do. Well, I think the only time he actually does, of course, you know, come after you, since he's a demon, is like if you do bad things, like in Nightmare on Elm Street 1, when Tina engages in relations, unmarital relations, and, you know, she's in the bed that does not have the cross above the bed to protect her like it did the night before. I think it's still your basic, like, if you have sex, you die. If you do drugs, you die. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, maybe so, but a lot of times, you know, these kids are in these Freddy movies are not doing drugs and they still get cooked. So I really think that maybe it's hard to say. I don't think that this has anything to do with a moral being or anything like that. I think, just like I said, I think because Jesse moved into the house, and Jesse was a very vulnerable young man, because he really does not have a backbone. He really is not the type of person that stands up to people, and he's just, he just pushes all his emotions and feelings down. Whatever he's going through, whether it be issues at home with his parents, his sexuality, and he does not have anybody to talk to, therefore he's pushing everything down in his system. He doesn't have nobody to talk to about anything, no matter what subject it is, and therefore I think that's another reason why Freddy's feeding off of him. If, he's living in the house and all this stuff where Nancy lived, therefore that place is ground zero for, spiritual hauntings and stuff. So yeah, I'm sorry, I just don't think that I don't think Freddy was trying to teach Jesse a lesson. But like I said, Nightmare on Elm Street 2 is definitely one of my favorite sequels. I love that movie. I could definitely watch that one over and over multiple times. And I will be doing a review on the other Freddy movies, and when I finish doing those, I will give my opinion on the Jason movies. And then I will follow it up with my opinion on Freddy versus Jason. Please continue to stick around. If you do, you do. If you don't, you don't. Whatever. I'm not your mom. I'm not going to tell you what to do. Okay, anyway. Peace out. Thanks.